Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to Of Dice and Third Baseman. And today we're going to take a step back in the World Series time machine. We're headed back to 1923 in Yankee Stadium for the first game of the 23 World Series between the Yankees and the New York Giants. This was the third straight World Series between the two clubs, but it was the first World Series ever held in Yankee Stadium, which had just opened that April. The previous two series between the teams had been played entirely at the Polo Grounds, which the teams had shared for a decade after the Yankees left Hilltop Park following the 1912 season and until the stadium had been built. The Yankees won 98 games in 1923, led by Miller Huggins. They won the American League by 16 games over the Tigers and the Indians. They already led by 10 games by July 4th, and they coasted into the pennant, clinching on the 20th of September. Of course, they were led by Babe Ruth. He was unanimous AL MVP. He put up a 14-win season, hitting .393 with 99 extra base hits. But he was also backed by the best defense in baseball and a very good pitching staff that featured Herb Pennock, Sam Jones with 21 wins, Bullet Joe Bush, and a 23-year-old Wade Hoyt. The Giants won 95 games under John McGraw, and they won the National League pennant by 4.5 games over Cincinnati. They were up 8 games by early June, but they could never pull completely away, and the lead got as small as 3 games just before Labor Day, but they held on and clinched the flag on the 28th of September. The strength of McGraw's team was a very deep lineup, led by the infield, with Frankie Frisch at second, Davy Bancroft at short, and Heine Groh at third. Also with Ross Young with 121 runs scored and Irish Musial with 125 RBIs in the outfield. They also played good defense, but they had somewhat pedestrian pitching for the time that featured 3 15-game winners. Today's Wednesday, the 1st of October of 1923, and the stadium's just about ready for the 2 p.m. first pitch. Let's head out to the ballpark and see about those starting lineups. The Giants will line up for Game 1 like this. Leading off will be the shortstop Dave Bancroft. Heine Groh will bat second and play third base. Frankie Frisch is at second and will bat in the 3-hole with Ross Youngs in right field in the cleanup spot. Irish Musial's in left. Casey Stengel is in center. George High Pockets Kelly at first base. Hank Gowdy behind the plate. And Mule Watson, who was a late season addition to the club, will be handed the pill in Game 1 by the Giants. The Yankees will trot out Whitey Witt in the leadoff spot, and he'll play center field. Joe Dugan will bat second and play third. Ruth in the 3-hole playing right. Bob Musial in left. Wally Pipp at first. Aaron Ward at second. Wally Shang at catcher. Everett Scott at short. And Wade Hoyt will take the mound for the Yankees in Game 1. All right, the teams are done warming up. The Giants will step in. We're ready to get Game 1 underway. As Wade Hoyt looks in to Wally Shang, takes the sign, and delivers to Bancroft. That's a 6.25. We go to the park chart, and that's a fly ball to center field. That'll bring up the third baseman, Groh. 113, and that's bounced back to the mound. No problem for Hoyt. Flips to first for the second out. That brings the club star and talisman, Frankie Frisch, to the plate. 107, and again, a comebacker. Hoyt puts a glove on it, tosses over to first base, and the Giants go quickly in the first. That means it's time for Whitey Witt to step in for the Yanks and face the 26-year-old right-hander Mule Watson. 583. That'll be a fly ball to center field. Casey Stengel is there. And he's not. It eludes him and gets over his head for a double. Casey not much of a fly catcher, apparently. So Witt leads off with a two-base hit, and immediately the Yankees are in business. Dugan will step in. 545. That will be hit to Frisch. And that's a ground ball to second. Witt will take third. Okay, infield. We'll play back with Ruth up, a man on third and one out. That's a 327. Swing and a miss. The Babe goes down on a big cut. And that'll leave it up to Bob Musial. Famous for one of the most feared throwing arms of the first half of the 20th century. But he'll have to do it with the stick here. 492. And he strikes out as well. So the Mule stiffens up after the leadoff double by Witt. And the Yankees fail to score. We'll go to the second with a 0-0 tie. And that'll bring up Youngs. It's a 450. It's a righty. That'll be a grounder to second. Handled easily by Aaron Ward. Irish Musial will now step in. 578. That's hit well to left. Could be a problem, and it falls in front of Bob Musial for the base hit. So the Giants get their first runner of the game. Musial on first with Casey Stengel up. No play on here. Stengel will hit away. That's a 266 against a lefty. That is going to be deep to center. Casey got a lick on it. He's a power of 6. In 13, that'll be 19 to the ballpark chart. Center field. Oh, hit it well, but tracked down in the deepest part of the park by Witt. Now with 2 down, that'll be High Pockets Kelly. That's a 112, and that's another tapper back to Hoyt. Generating a bunch of weak contact in the early going, and the Giants go out pretty quietly in the second. That'll bring up Wally Pipp to start off the second for the Yankees. 231. It's a left-handed batter. That struck well to center field. Pipp is a power of 2, and 4 more is a 6. And that'll fall in for a bloop single. So again, the Yankees get the leadoff man on. Okay. The auto manager die as a 3, which is not less than Pipp's steal. So he will stay put. There'll be no play on for Ward. Yep. 1 man overboard, they all go back in. 264 against a righty. That's deep to left. Ward's a 4, and 1 is 5 more. It's 5 to left. That's a bloop single. So the Yankees playing a little dunky-doo here. They got 2 men on and nobody out. And that'll bring up Wally Shang. You might consider bunting here, but we have the weak hitting Everett Scott and the pitcher coming up next. And he would not bunt according to the auto manager, given a bunt rating of 5 and a power contact sum of 6. So Shang is going to take his chances by swinging the stick. 397. And he got under it just a bit. Skies it to left. And Irish Musial will make the catch for the first out. That brings up Scott, who was once one of the great defensive shortstops in the game, but as you can tell by his range rating, lost a couple of steps since his 20s. Pitch to Scott. 148. Skies it to right. For the second out. And now Hoyt will have to do his own work. Watson looks in. 340. Contact one pitcher, and that's a swing and a miss. Watson's third strikeout of the game. Just 2 innings. And the Yankees strand another 2. We're through 2 innings with no score. That'll bring up the Giants catcher Hank Gowdy to lead off the third. 663. That is a bloop single for Gowdy. Okay. So now Watson at the plate, and he will lay one down. Even though he's not a great bunter. So that's an 8, and his bunt rating of 3 is an 11. And he misses the attempted sacrifice. There's 2 strikes. We're going to leave the play on. There's 18, and his 3 is 21. And he gets that one down to first base. Pip is up with it, but he has no play other than to flip to Ward, covering first. And it's a sacrifice. Gowdy moves to second. That'll bring up Bancroft. First runner in scoring position for the Giants today. Hoyt delivers, and he gets him swinging. Davey couldn't hold up on the slow stuff, and there's 2 down. Heine Groh steps in. 427, and that's wrapped hard, but right on the ground to shortstop. Up with it is Scott, over to first, and that'll do it for the Giants, who strand 1. The Yankees are back to the top of their order. Whitey Witt, who doubled to lead off the game, but didn't get any further than third base. He'll looking to take his licks against Watson. That's a 598. That's going to be hit to Youngs in right field. And that'll fall in for a base hit. Joe Dugan at the plate. 236 against a righty. And that's skied routinely into shallow right field. Youngs is under it. One down. And here's the Sultan of SWAT. 764 slugging percentage, boys and girls. That kind of stuff doesn't fall out of trees. And the pitch to the Bambino. 283. That ball is hit. And it's hit hard. And it's hit deep to right. Babe is a 9 power. Add 10, that's 19 more to right. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that ball is gone. Babe Ruth breaks the scoreless tie with a 2-run home run to right field, and the Yankee Stadium crowd goes bananas. There are boaters being thrown in the air everywhere. Maybe a few fedoras, too. Now Musial will step in. 376. And that's a base hit. Okay, the auto manager die is less than Musial's steal rating, so he's going to try for the jump. He has a steal of 7 and Watson's a hold of an 8, so I need an 11 or better to go. He cannot get the jump. Pip will stand in. 138. That's a tapper back to the mound. Watson handles it routinely. Musial goes to second with 2 outs. And that'll bring up Aaron Ward. He singled in the second. 421. Hit on the ground to short. Up with it is Bancroft. Over to first. Retires the side. But the Yankees get 2 runs on 3 hits. Behind what else? A circuit clout by the Bambino. And they've taken a 2-0 lead through 3 innings. But the Giants will have the heart of their order coming up in the 4th. And Frankie Frisch will start it off. 494 against a righty. And that's hit deep to center. But there is room for Whitey Witt. A few steps in front of the warning track. He makes the grab. Ross Youngs is next. A man of whom John McGraw once said was the best hitter he ever saw, but whose life and career ended tragically early. Pitch to Youngs. That's 555. That'll be smacked on the ground to Dugan. He will come up with it on 2 hops. Throw over to first. So far, the Giants aren't troubling the 23-year-old Wade Hoyt very much. And it's Irish Musial's turn. 250 against a righty. That'll be a 560, which is another routine ground ball. This one hit to Scott, who shovels it up along with a fistful of dirt and throws the whole pile of stuff over to first base for the out. And the Giants again go in order in the 4th. The Yankee catcher, Wally Shang, will step in to lead off the Yankees half of the inning. And Watson delivers. That's a fly ball to right field. And Youngs will have no trouble tracking that one down for the first out. Scott, 442. That's a bouncer to second. Over to first. 2 quick outs. That'll bring up Hoyt, who swung and missed badly his first time up in the 2nd inning. He hits that one to center. That's Stengel again, better manager than a center fielder at this point in his career. And that ball gets over his head for a double. That puts Hoyt on second with 2 outs and Whitey Witt at the plate. 496 against a righty, and that's skied to center field. Or it's this time, it's nothing but a can of corn for Mr. Stengel. Yankees get no runs on a hit, leave one. We go to the top of the 5th. Yankees 2, Giants nothing. All right, Casey steps in. Maybe he wasn't tracking the fly balls down, but he could sure hit a lick. And he'll see what he can do here to get something started against Wade Hoyt. That's a 6-10. And that'll be a pop-up on the infield. Aaron Ward takes a step back onto the outfield grass. Makes the grab for the first out. George High Pockets Kelly stands in. 194, and that's going to be looped over the infield and onto the grass for a base hit. Giants' 3rd hit of the game. And that'll bring up Hank Gowdy. Not a great hitter for his career, but he had a very nice part-time season in 1923. Pitch by Hoyt is a 368, and Gowdy hits it hard, but right at the third baseman. Dugan's up with it, throws to second for 1, on to first, and a double play. So the Giants get a hit, but can only bring up the minimum, and they don't score. We're halfway home. Bottom of the 5th. The score, Yankees 2, Giants nothing. Joe Dugan is 0 for 2. He grounded to second and flied to right. 634 plus 10 for being home. That's a 644, and that's hit hard on the ground to short. Tossed over to first by Bancroft. 1 down. And the Babe. Lot of blue on that card, folks. The pitch to Ruth. That's a 601 plus 10 is 611. And the Bambino got under that one. High sky pop up on the infield. Fading back is Frankie Frisch, and he puts it away for out number 2. And now to Bob Musial. 205 against a righty. And again on the ground. Third baseman grows up with it. Routine play. 1-2-3 inning for the Yanks, and we're through 5. And still nothing doing at all, really, other than the Bambino's home run. Okay, Watson will take a look at Hoyt. That's a 685. And that's a base hit. The pitchers doing their part today with a couple of hits. Watson at first to lead it off. No play on here. Don't want to give up an out with a 2-run deficit, and also not called for by the auto manager die. So Bancroft will swing away. That's a 217 against the switch hitter. And there you go. Whacked back to the box. Hoyt gloves it. Throws to second. where Scott's covering and on to first for the 1-6-3 double play. Second inning in a row, the Giants have wrapped into a double play. Well, Hoyt has certainly had the ground ball pitch working. He's got 12 ground ball outs out of the 17 outs so far. And Groh with 2 outs and nobody on. That's a 548. And that'll be hit to Aaron Ward. And that'll get past his reach and into right field for a base hit. So Heine gets his first hit of the game. And the Giants' 5th. And that'll give Frisch a chance with a man on base. 199. And that's poked down the right field line. And it's fair ball. And it's going to roll down the line and into the corner. Frisch is going to steam into second. And Groh will go all the way around and score. It's an RBI double for Frankie Frisch. The lead is cut in half. 2-1 Yankees. You want to win on the big stage? Your stars have to do the business. Frankie comes through there. And now he represents the potential tying run on second with Youngs at the plate. That's a 273 against a lefty. And that's hit well to center field. Youngs is a 1 power, and 9 more is a 10. And that's into the gap in center field for another double. Frisch scores to tie the game. Youngs trots into the second bag, and we have a new ball game. 2 runs apiece in the top of the 6th, and suddenly Hoyt looks vulnerable. Can Irish keep it going? 156. And a big high hopper to first base. Pip at first base. Puts it in his pocket. Takes it to the bag for the final out of the inning. The Giants get 2 runs on 4 hits. And tie the game at 2 apiece heading into the bottom of the 6th. Well, gut check here for the Yankees. Looked like things were going their way. Now we got a new ball game and Pip will stand in. 518 and he whacks that one right through the box past Watson and into center field for a base hit. Okay. Do the Yankees want to do anything here? Okay, auto manager not calling for anything. Pip not a particularly good runner. Ward not a particularly great contact hitter. So he's going to swing away. 496 against a righty, and that's hit deep to left. Ward is a 4 power. 12 more is a 16. Deep to left, and that just comes up short. Caught with his back pressed against the wall by Irish Musial. Ward is retired and Pip has to scurry back to first. Well, Aaron gave that a ride, but not quite enough juice on the ball. And that'll bring up Wally Sheng for 63. Bounces it to second. The only play is the force at second. And so Sheng will take Pip's place at first, 2 down. That'll give Everett Scott a chance. 162. And he takes a wide one. So ball 4 to Scott. And Hoyt will come up with first and second and 2 outs. That's a 534. That'll be bounced to High Pockets Kelly at first. Routine 3 unassisted. The Yankees come up empty despite the leadoff hit. No runs and a hit. We are through 6, tied at 2. And if he starts his next inning of work, Neil Watson will be vulnerable to fatigue. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Go to the top of the 7th first, and Stengel will lead it off against Hoyt. That's a 3-10, and he swings and misses. Second strikeout on the day for Waite. Kelly at the dish. 327. He also strikes out. I think Hoyt's got his dander up a bit after letting the Yankees back into the game in the 6th. He punched out the first 2 men in the 7th, and that'll bring up the catcher Gowdy. Skies it to center. Witt is under it. Makes the catch for the routine out. So 1-2-3 inning for the Giants. A good response by Wade Hoyt. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we go to the 7th inning stretch here at the stadium with the score, the Giants 2 and the Yankees 2. Hoyt will be vulnerable to fatigue in the 8th. But now the Yankees come out after the stretch, and they will have the top of the menu coming to the plate. Whitey Witt, the center fielder, to lead it off against Watson. 5-19. That's wrapped back to the box. Watson stabs it, turns and spins, throws to first, and he throws it in the dirt. And can't be handled there by High Pockets Kelly. And that'll be an error on Mule Watson. Boy, as a pitcher, you don't like to see an error to the leadoff guy, especially when it's your own fault. So Witt takes first. And that'll bring Dugan to the plate. All right, no auto manager call here for a bunt, but this is a place where I'm going to use my own judgment. Dugan's going to lay it down. He's a bunt 5. And there's 11 more, so that's 16. And that's hit to the first baseman. Potential fielder's choice. Kelly's arm is a 1. And Witt's speed is a 3. So Kelly would need a 12 or better to force the run at second. He is going to take the shot. Fields the bunt, throws to second, and Witt beats the throw. So Dugan gets a sacrifice hit and a fielder's choice. And without the benefit of a hit or a walk, the Yankees have 2 men on and nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. And just a quick little bit of foreshadowing here. The Babe will not be bunting. Can't really pitch around him either with the potential game-winning run at second and no base to put him in. So Mule will take his chances. 5-28. And well, let's call that an unintentional intentional walk, as Babe watches a fourth one sail wide, and that'll load the bases. Yep. The Giants probably have to think about getting somebody up here, but these were the days when men were men. So for now, the mule's going to stay in there. The infield is going to come in, and with the bases loaded, the runners will be going on contact. Here's the pitch to Musial. 540. That's hit right on the dot to Frisch. .463 with the infield in. The runner going on to contact, so it'll be a play at the plate. So we'll check Frisch's arm, which is a 2, against Witt's speed, which we know is a 3. And Frisch will need an 11 or better. Actually, since the bases are loaded, he gets 3 to his arm because the runner on third is forced. So he's a 5 arm against a 3, so he needs an 8 or better to get the force at home. That's a 13, and he guns him out at the plate. So Witt is out 4-2 at the plate. Everybody else advances. Bases are still loaded with 1 out. Infield is still in, and that'll bring up Wally Pipp. Could cut the tension with a knife here at the stadium. 155. Oh, brother. Pipp hits a scorching line drive to shortstop. Diving stab by Bancroft. Gets to his knees. Flips to third base. And he catches the runner off the bag at third for an ending inning double play. Holy cow, what a defensive play by the Hall of Famer Davy Bancroft. 6-5 double play. And unbelievably, the Yankees failed to score in the bottom of the 7th. No runs, no hits. Bases loaded on 2 occasions, and they cannot deliver. Talk about a deflating moment for the Yankee Stadium gathering. And Watson will come to the plate and try to ride that high as he leads off the 8th inning for the Giants. .453. Mule's got an eye of 2. That's a pop to first base. It'll drift into foul ground where Pipp will put it away. Bancroft, 210. That's a walk. No jump for Davy, and that'll be Heine Groh. .115. He skittles that one on first base where Pipp has it, and he'll flip to Wade Hoyt covering for the second out. Groh is retired, but Bancroft moves to second. The Giants have the go-ahead run at second with 2 down to Frisch. .463, and Frankie does it again. That ball is driven into the gap in left center. It'll roll past the outfielders and all the way to the wall. Bancroft will score easily. Frisch has his second double, his second run batted into the game. Giants lead 3-2. Now Young's with a chance at some insurance. 206, and Ross will draw a base on balls. So, little starch starting to come out of Hoyt here. As I mentioned before, the Yankees pretty much had a 5-man pitching staff and nobody else pitched. We're going to leave Hoyt in for one more batter here. Irish Musial's 1 for 3, singled and grounded out twice. That's a 120, and Hoyt gets him to tap to first, and he'll take the ball covering himself for the third out. But the Giants get a run on a hit, and they take a 3-2 lead going into the bottom of the 8th. Yankees running out of licks, and Ward will try to get it started. It's a 140. That's a tapper back to the mound. Nothing but routine for Watson. And Shang at the plate. 276 against the switch hitter, and that's hit pretty well to right field. Shang is a power 1. Plus 16 is a 17 to right field. And that ball is gone. Ho! Wally Shang with 2 regular season home runs drops one over the wall in the short porch in right field to tie the game at 3. Unlikely heroes in the postseason, folks. And suddenly the crowd is back on their feet, and Scott will come to the plate. .103, that's a fly ball to left. And what do you do here about Hoyt? He's gone 8 innings. There's 2 outs and nobody on. All right. Well, with fatigue 3, we're going to hit. We're going to pinch hit. Like the pitching staff, the bench hardly played on this Yankees team, so we'll bring a lefty pinch hitter in the form of Harvey Hendrick. And he'll take his swings against Mule. 397. And ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That's hit high. That's hit deep to right. And it's gone. A pinch hit home run for unlikely hero Harvey Hendrick. And the Yankees have suddenly, inexplicably, and crazily taken the lead over the Giants by a score of 4-3 on the strength of 2 home runs from the most unlikeliest sources. Watson has been rocked here in the bottom of the 8th. But he'll stay in to face Witt. That's a 227 against a lefty. So that's a 597. And that's hit out to Youngs and right. And he will not reach it. It gets in for a double. And the Giants are looking for help in the pen. All right. They will go to Rosie Ryan. Face Dugan. Quite a busy swingman. 15 starts, 30 relief appearances. He's got to get Dugan here with the insurance run on second. 2 outs. 199, and he's not going to do it. That ball is poked into left field, drops inside the line, and that'll be a 2-base hit and an RBI for Dugan. And the Yankees now lead 5-3. They will intentionally walk Ruth. Pitch to the righty Musial. 446 against a righty. And this one is also drilled. That is into the gap in left center field. And it rolls to the wall. Dugan will score. Ruth is a speed of 1. Musial has an arm of 4. The Bambino will hold at third. Second and third, 2 outs to Pip, and it's all gone pear-shaped here for the Giants in the 8th inning. The pitch to Pip, 5:28, and that's ball 4. Just loads the bases as Ward comes to bat for the second time in the inning. Ryan just trying to escape and give his teammates some chance in the top of the 9th. The pitch to Ward. That's a 6-12. At home, that's a 6-22. And that's a routine fly ball to center field for mercifully the 3rd out of the inning. But the Yankees score 4 runs on 5 hits, all 5 of which went for extra bases. 3 doubles and 2 home runs. And they will take a 6-3 lead into the 9th inning. And on to pitch. Will be Bullet Joe Bush, 30-year-old right-hander. And the Giants will have Stengel, Kelly, and Gowdy due at the plate. Last chance saloon. Bush looks in at the future manager and icon. And the pitch. 196. And that's ball 4. So just what the Giants needed. Get some men on. Pitch to Kelly. That's a 111. And that's a strike 3 called at the knees. High Pockets thought it was a little too low, but umpire Bill Clem thought otherwise. And that'll bring up Gowdy. 5:06, our first rare play of the game. .534. And that's tapped weakly on the ground by Gowdy. Bush runs over and fields it. His throw to first. And it hits Gowdy in the back. The umpires come running out, and wait, they're ruling Gowdy out for interference, saying he was running inside the baseline. Goodness gracious. So that'll be a put out for the pitcher. Gowdy out for batter interference, and Stengel has to return to first. Been one of those days the last couple innings for the Giants. And with Ryan due up, they'll go to the bench. And they'll bring the left-handed hitter, Jimmy O'Connell, on to bat for Ryan. 2 outs. Tying run on potentially on deck. And Bush will pitch to O'Connell. That's a 5.35. That's whacked on the ground to Wally Pipp. It's in his glove. Trots to first. Steps on the bag. And that's the ball game. The Yankees win Game 1 of the 1923 World Series by a score of 6-3. The Giants had 3 runs on 8 hits and made 1 error. The Yankees had 6 runs on 13 hits and made no errors. The winning pitcher was Wade Hoyt, now 1-0 in the series. And the losing pitcher is Mule Watson, 0-1. Stars of the game for the Giants, Frankie Frisch, 2 for 4 with 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. For the Yankees, well, the Babe was 1 for 3 with 2 walks and a 2-run homer. But really, it was the unsung guys who got the job done in the bottom of the 8th, when in the span of 3 batters, Wally Shang and Harvey Hendrick, who had a combined 5 home runs between them in the regular season, hit 2 into the short porch in right field to bring the Yankees back from a 1-run deficit and give them the lead. So the Yanks take Game 1, and the series will shift to the Polo Grounds for Game 2 tomorrow. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll see you around.